saying the 2025 Lions is important for rugby in Australia, that's an understatement. But the here and now is just as important.
Yes.
Yeah.
You wouldn't call it an insult, but when people say the Springboks only play one style of game, well, they're very good at their set piece historically, but they've always had the ability to score 30-plus points when needed to.
The team is out from South Africa. We're pretty much going with a B-ish team.
I've never heard a Springbok team called a B team.
Let's get ready to rumble! It's all happening in Perth, but before we get there, it's all happening at Behind the Ruck. Guys, you know who I am. Hey, as I say it, no, maybe not. I'm Juan de Jong, and next to me is the one and only.
It's the short one, Rudy Points. Hello, Ruckers.
Hey,
welcome back, Ruckers.
We missed him.
It's been a week.
It's been a week. It's a long week. 7 days is a long time. But yeah, coming about this weekend, Perth is a lot happening. But you look good.
Partner, we ready for 2 fights.
Are you ready?
2 fights, Ruckers. We have Saturday a battle against the Aussies. And then Sunday we got Drykers Duplessis.
Drykers?
Yes. That's why we're rapping.
We're rapping.
Still knocked, okay?
We're rapping, yeah. And guys, whoever raps Behind the Ruck, okay? Behind the Ruck is supported.
Hey.
Chick. Supported by SuperSportBET, the one and only. And also, like you can see, we're in the house of Drykers Duplessis, okay? And I'm physical today, okay? When I wear this stuff, old school apparel sponsor, I'm physical today.
So, partner, Ruckers, this week we are proudly South African, okay?
Yes.
Bokke, orals, and then it's Drykers everywhere. To get all you gets and everything like that, okay? Ons squad dynamic.
Yes, Adashanye. Wat
All Blacks goedjies.
Adashanye.
All Blacks goedjies. I see Richie Mohanga and everybody is hanging with him.
So it's Springboks versus Australia. And then after Sunday, it's All Blacks versus the Springboks.
100%.
We're going back to back. Back to back. You know what it is,
But Paddy, before we get carried away, let me quickly give what's happening on the episode, the lineup. Ruckers, today it's going to be a little bit different, okay? The lineup is going to be like a Qatar Airways business class flight. Okay, partner? We're going to skip starters. We're going to go straight to main course. Today's main course, Ruckers, is George Gregan, Australian rugby legend. 139 test matches for the Wallabies.
Say it again.
My childhood hero.
Say it again.
George Gregan, 139 test matches, main course meal in this flight today, okay? Then we're going to go to a bit of a dessert.
You like that?
Dessert.
You
I
like
love
that?
it. I eat my chocolates. I eat everything. We're going to talk all things Springbok rugby versus the Wallabies in Perth. Dr. Rassi made all sorts of stuff in the team selection. We're quickly going to discuss that, okay, guys? And then we're going to wrap it up nicely today, and we're going to discuss something that the two of us are going to do this weekend. Exciting news. You guys don't want to miss out. Oh, it's a massive episode. Let's go, partner.
Did you say George Gregan?
Yes.
Oh, no. Hey?
Yes.
For real?
Yep.
George Gregan.
George Gregan, the one
4 more years.
100%.
4 more years.
Yes.
Is it him?
As 100.
Wow, I'm excited for this one.
It's the one, the only.
Huh? I'm excited for this one.
Let's go, man.
And start now?
No starter.
Okay, don't over... the Ruckers, they like too much.
Ruckers have just made their coffee.
Okay.
They've just settled down.
Yes.
They kicked off their shoes. They're about to get ready for the #1 rugby podcast. We're not going to keep them waiting.
Let's go. Okay, up next, George Gregan.
Let's go.
Ooh,
partner.
Hey. Are you all right?
Partner, I'm okay. I've settled down. Ruckers, we have Australian royalty on Behind the Ruck.
Wow.
Georgie Gregan.
Georgie.
Welcome to our show. How are you doing?
I'm very well, gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be on your show. It's a good-looking background, and of course, there's a lot of Bocky jerseys there, so you got the bragging rights after the weekend.
Yeah. You know it is.
Apologies. We are loud and proud this week, George. I hope you don't mind.
No, that's okay. No problems at all. Don't apologise for being successful. It's good.
And you, Georgie, where are you? Are you currently in Canberra? Is it Canberra?
There's no way, partner. He's got a T-shirt on.
I'm not in Canberra. If I was in Canberra, I would have had a layer on it. It's a bit chilly in Canberra at the moment. I'm actually in the UK, living in the UK now, and been here for nearly a couple of years. And it's summery. It was a really hot 34 degrees in London yesterday, which probably feels like in our countries in summer, probably equivalent of about 40 plus degrees because there's no airflow. There's nothing coming off the ocean when you're in London. So it was pretty hot yesterday.
Yeah, the UK.
And Georgie, quickly, are you currently? I know it's summer. Are you on holiday? Are you still working? What is George Gregan doing at this moment?
Doesn't the library tell you the office and everything? But there's a nice little picture too of a nice little vacation place with a nice pool by the ocean. But no, definitely in work mode. But August is a time in the UK where everyone's on sort of school holiday, so it quietens down a little bit. But head down, working hard for a health and fitness business, which we've grown into a number of countries, and we're here in the UK.
Oh, beautiful stuff, yeah. But yeah, while we're on that, let's get down under, okay? Georgie knows down under he wants to go, yeah. Let's talk about this past weekend, Georgie. Obviously, you've seen the Springboks versus the Wallabies at Brisbane. What was your thoughts on this past weekend?
Yeah, well, obviously the last couple of weeks have been pretty hectic with sport outside of rugby, something called the Olympics. So I was up watching lots of Olympics over the last 2 weeks, and obviously got a snapshot of that weekend. Got it on my phone, as you do these days. You get a little snapshot around what happened in that morning. So obviously we got beaten like convincingly by the Boks in Suncorp in Brisbane, and then there was which is a big surprise in many ways, but it's a great victory by Argentina. Beating the All Blacks at Wellington 38-30. So it wasn't such a good day for the teams which were hosting the teams from abroad, but great result. Winning away from home's hard, so both the Boks and Argentina played extremely well, that's for sure.
And especially, Georgie, for us, Brisbane has not been a nice town to visit for Springbok rugby.
11 years.
Especially getting over that speed bump of going to Suncorp. But is this alarm bells for Australian rugby, or was it just a performance that the Springboks were just so good that it is what it is kind of a thing?
I think it's a combination of both, but I don't think the Wallabies, like I'm always the glass is half full, I don't think the Wallabies would have been expecting to compete hard, fight hard at the breakdown, do all the things which they did well in their 3 lead-up test matches, but it goes up another level when you play the Springboks. But obviously the Springboks are an incredible team. Well coached by Rassie, incredible captain Messiah Khaleesi with lots of experience across that whole team. They've been together for a long period of time, know how to win big games and get energised by challenges. So the more you talk about the hoodoo of Suncorp and they haven't had good success there, the more you're sort of telling them, you know what, let's add this to our already full resume of success. So answering your question, I don't think it's alarm bells because we've been inconsistent for a long period of time, and that's, I guess, the challenge for Joe Schmidt over this next period of time. And the messaging coming out of him and the coaching group and the Wallabies is they're looking to pick and stick and develop these players over a period of time, because you just don't get there by chopping and changing all the time. It doesn't build confidence, buzzword cohesion. And you sometimes have to go through some difficult times to get success, and that's what you're going to get when you play the likes of the Springboks, the likes of the All Blacks, and the likes of Argentina in the Rugby Championship. It's tough rugby, and if you're a little bit off, you'll get shown out.
Yeah, you'll get shown up. And for me, the Wallabies wasn't that bad. It's a lot of, from last year, especially from the Rugby World Cup, they've improved a lot. I don't know if you guys feel as well. And I feel like the Springboks just got a lot of weapons now. They've got the scrums and they've got physicality. They've got new attack now as well. What is your thoughts when it comes to the different types of the Eddie Jones era and also the Joe Schmidt as well? Thinking of where the Wallabies is kind of moving.
Well, the Eddie Jones era, Eddie came in unexpectedly. From his time in England, and it was short, and it was a bit of a crash, wasn't it? But what he was doing then was investing in youth, and you can see what Joe Smith's doing. He's looking to invest in youth, build experience, build the number of caps. I think he made a comment that nearly a third of the caps within the team are with one player, and that's James Slipper. So they need to build experience. The only way you get experience is by playing, and obviously bringing some players who've been injured. Obviously, from a personal perspective, Taniela Tupou, with his father passing away, wasn't able to play. So they'll manage that. But the Wallabies need to be building experience across the group and building those young players into understanding how to prepare for test matches. That's one thing, because it's a different level of preparation to what they've ever done, be it club, be it Super Rugby. Everything goes up 20, 30% in a test match, intensity, speed of running, etc., etc. Decision-making becomes harder. You're just playing against better players. So your margins for error are really, really small. And if you're compounding them, then you get exposed. So I think that's the challenge for Joe Schmidt and his team. And I think comparing eras, it's too short into it. Like Joe Smith's only 4 test matches into it. We're not even halfway through the Rugby Championship. He hasn't gone on a tour to the end of to the UK, which will happen later this year, which I think is going to be a Grand Slam tour. So they'll be playing all the host nations, which will be incredible. So we'll get a better understanding of where they are by the end of the year. Maybe if we have this conversation in December, we'll have a better understanding of where they're at. And then obviously it's all focus will be on the British and Irish Lions next year in Australia. So there's a bit of highway to sort of cover between now and then. But I'm sure I like the messaging coming from Joe Smith and that Wallaby team in terms of like looking for improvement, because that builds consistency.
And George, obviously, when we as a Springbok Rugby went through a similar thing, maybe 2016, 2017, where it was tough times, and obviously we had to endure and we had to persevere, and obviously we were lucky that Rassie came on board. For you guys as an Australian public, old players, what is the grace period you guys will allow this? Not allow this, but what's the grace period for Joe Smith? Is it a patient game? Building up is the most important thing next year's British and Irish Lions tour.
Yeah, I think you got to be careful. There's a great coach, doesn't coach rugby union, but he's probably one of the greatest coaches internationally across all team sports. His name's Craig Bellamy. He's at Melbourne Storm. And they always talk about a plan. He always talks about like a 2 or 3 year plan for the Melbourne Storm. They've been probably the most successful and consistent winning rugby league teams in Australia or in the history of that game. The time he's been there, they really don't make a final or a preliminary final or playing in grand finals. And they've gone through a lot of different players, but there's a system, there's an intent, and there's a way that they prepare, and an expectation of what you do now is really important for obviously the next match, but also for this season. Yeah, we'll worry about next season, but there's always the now plan, and he's very good at it. So I think from saying the 2025 Lions is important for rugby in Australia, that's an understatement, but the here and now is just as important. You can't get too far ahead, otherwise you lose focus on what's important for you now. So I think that's very, very important. Obviously next week or this coming week's another big step up, playing the Box. I think it's in Perth. So it's going to be a special test match. It's a great arena. It's a great opportunity to improve on what they did last week, and they need to improve. And I'm sure the Box will look to improve because they're a world champion team. They're always looking for constant improvement. And you just see, like with answering this too, look at what Rassie's done. He's brought in Tony Brown. I was lucky enough to play against Tony Brown many years. We sort of played against each other in Japan to finish our playing careers, and he's gone on and coached really well for Japan, New Zealand, and now he's doing a great job. A very shrewd, smart rugby player, and that's passed on into his coaching. He thinks differently, and he'll work with his team, and he'll understand what the strengths and weaknesses are of the team and what are the opportunities within that team. And you can see that, like even in this short period of time, and knowing Tony, they're prepared. They're always going to kick well. Springboks are always going to kick well. They're going to kick from different sources, but he's got them thinking about, okay, how do we use the width of the field? How do we use the depth of the field? And then how do we react to what the opposition does? And there's opportunities. So they're thinking a little bit differently. And they've always been, I think it's a bit of an understatement. Well, not an understatement. I think it's a simple, I almost call it, you wouldn't call it an insult, but when people say the Springboks only play one style of game, well, they're very good at their set piece. Historically, Springboks, that's their DNA. But they've always had the ability to score 30-plus points when they need to, with the quality of players. You don't perform well in a rugby championship and you don't score 33-plus points in a test match if you cannot play the width of the field and find space rather than just putting it up your jumper and driving and scrummaging. There is space around the field, and they have the ability to do it, and they're recognising that, and that makes them really, really tough to play against. And that's the evolution of their game, moving to the next sort of World Cup cycle. So they're in a good place, and Rassie's never going to stand still.
They're in a super good place, And talk about Perth, eh? Perth is a memory you know as well. Okay, it's 100 games played, Subiaco Oval against the Springboks, Georgie. Some good memories at Perth.
That's it. Got a nice jersey from Smitty and the boys. It was a very nice jersey from the lads.
Let's talk about this weekend as well. Expecting from this weekend when it comes to Optus Stadium. What do you expect, especially from a backlash from Australia as well? But the team is out from South Africa. We're pretty much going with a B-ish team. we don't want to call it a B team, but it looks like pretty much a B team. But what do you expect from a Australian
I've never
point
heard a
of view?
Springbok team called a B team.
In South Africa, there is something like it. But yeah, what do you expect about the backlash from Wallabies? You know, I don't want to say it's an insult of Rassie sending kind of a different team, but what do you expect?
He's done it before. He's done that before, where he's sent two different squads, one to New Zealand, one played in Australia, and they got the job done. I think you talk about player welfare and management, and anyone who's travelled those distances realises it's not easy. The Rugby Championship, there's a lot of travel, which has an impact on your ability to prepare, to manage your squad. And you like to play your A team all the time or your best, but no, you want to play your squad. And that's the depth of the squad. And I think that's been shown to be really positive, that what Rassie's done over the years. But I think the backlash, you hope to see a really positive response from the Wallabies. You heard language from Joe about like losing the contact areas and the collision areas. You've got to win the breakdown in all Test match rugby, particularly when you play the box. It's going to be hard, but you got to win it. Be that through speed, be it through precision and accuracy. You've got to do all those things so you can play and move the ball to space or make decisions quickly. Because if you don't, then you're under pressure and they're on the front foot. So that's an area which I'd imagine you'll see some improvement, but it's not going to be easy because the box defend with high line speed. Yeah, Jesse Kriel gets a lot of accolade for that, but they really understand how to harass and reduce the time and space for their opposing teams, which puts you under pressure. So then went to the aerial kicking game last week, didn't bear a lot of fruit. So whether there's an adjustment in that, we'll have to wait and see. But I think Test match rugby it's aptly named. You've got to try and test the opposition. You're obviously going to get tested, but you want to test the opposition and make them a little bit uncomfortable and potentially see things or do things which they haven't seen or prepared for, which makes them a bit uncomfortable. And then that's what I'd like to see from the Wallabies. We'll wait and see what Joe and his squad can do. But I'd also see a response from the box. They'll want to improve and finish that Australian trip with 2 from 2.
And partner, just to latch on what George is saying, it was quite strange, George, for me to see, especially in the first half when Jake Gordon kicked 2 box kicks, Australian rugby when they're at the best, it's ball in hand type of play. So that was something strange for me to see. But partner, Georgie, I fondly remember we lost at Albany 2017, that massive 56-0.
Yeah.
And 2 weeks after that, we played the All Blacks at Newlands and we lost by a point. And that's how quickly in international rugby, a week is a long time and how quickly things can turn around. So I think obviously the Boks had a great result. We had a great game. But I don't think it's going to be easy at Perth. There will be a definite backlash from this Australian team.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And you'd expect to see that, wouldn't you? I think any team, we've all played in teams where that's happened. Yeah, if you get beaten badly, and often when you review it, it looks really bad on the scoreline, and no one likes to see that sort of scoreline. But often it's just the small areas. As I said earlier, I think maybe a bit of inaccuracy, just missing, and particularly in rugby, and particularly against the Boks, you've got to win those physical contests. You've got to be up for it, and you've got to be prepared to do that for 80+ minutes. Because if you don't, and you start losing that, it has a big impact. It drains you. You're on the back foot defensively. You start missing tackles, etc., etc. So the flip side occurs when you're on the front foot. So it's a matter of them wrestling away a bit of that advantage that the Boks had in the first test.
Yeah, and George, just quickly, let's talk about rugby eras. Okay, you've retired obviously 12 years ago. Yeah. Rugby way back in the days, and rugby today, there was a lot of laws coming in now with the tackle heights and stuff like that. What is the safety like for you, and how's rugby play today, what you used to a couple of years ago?
Oh, look, it changes every year. Like how I played it was like rugby's always going to be a collision sport. Like great players, and I played against some great players. They adapt. They'd adapt to how they need to play now. Yeah. Like Skulkberger would probably be ahead of his game. He'd be loving this sort of contest where it's abrasive. It's on maybe not so much the tackle height. He'd probably get a few red cards because he just need to drop his height a little bit. But I love his saying, Skulky. It was like if you're going to miss big. Played a couple of times with him. Where was it, North or South and the Barbarians, and he was a great player. Great to play with. He was a challenge to play against. But I think what I've seen with the evolution, definitely the kicking, like you see the variety of kicks that teams have, because defence has got so good all around the world. But the short kicking in behind, the short kicks in the air, the cross kicks, the contestable kicking, becomes more of an aerial contest. It's become a bit of, and I think maybe there's an evolution to occur, and maybe some law changes might help with that. But there's been a little bit of a reluctance for teams to play between 22 and 22. Hence, there's a lot more kicking, which I don't particularly like, but I understand it. And there'll be some data points, and people say why. But I still think there's opportunities. If you've got a disjointed and a poor defensive line, and you've got some of the best attacking players, like I'm talking about the Cheslin Colbys, etc., and you put them in a one-on-one space, or the Damien McKenzie's, we've got a few pretty handy ones, Liam Wright, etc. In Australia, like they're all Tom Wright, not Liam Wright, Tom Wright. They're all really good players with a bit of space and that opportunity and the license to play if there's a fractured line. And I think that's the piece which I think is always going to be the case with rugby. But the contact areas, and everyone from 1 to 15, I think it was the World Cup final, I was on the sideline. I think Cheslin Colby got a really important turnover on a wide channel. Yeah. I'm thinking, what fullback / 11, 14 in my day would have even tried to pop their head down to look for a turnover? That was like the job of about 4 people on the field. Everyone else was like, no, we're not doing that. But everyone can. The tackle contest is exactly that. Yeah. And it's just become really, really physical. It's become fast. Defence has got better. But with defence getting better, it's a chance for attack to sort of look at adjusting a few things and doing a few little subtle changes. I know Ireland did a few subtle changes just with their ball playing and with the options, which create a few problems for the Springboks with just those little short runners, the tip pass, someone running angles. So there's still that opportunity for innovation and ingenuity, which I think is really important. But no, it's fast, furious, and they're great athletes, and I love watching it from the safety of the sideline.
Yeah. And if George is sitting there watching on the big screen at home, what generation would you choose to play in? Would George Gregan would have loved to play in this current rugby, or was it your generation? Was that the generation that George Gregan would have preferred playing his rugby?
Because he dominated in that generation.
we had a pretty handy team. When I finished, I put it this way. When I finished, I was 34, international rugby, 2007. Box won that. Fourie Dupree, Victor, Smitty, Skolky, won some great Springbok team. And, it was the second of 4 that you've won now. But there was a lot of kicking. Like by the end of the career when I was playing, like that year, I remember thinking, I'm kind of done with this. Like the ball was in the air more than it was being played in hand. You actually weren't getting rewarded for using the ball in hand. Whereas I think the early stages of Super Rugby, and we had our success, and not because we had this, that's how I like to play rugby. And then I went to Japan and finished my career there, which was great, and it was just fast, furious. I think we averaged 8 kicks a game. We're a bit different. We played it a bit differently. Brownie's team, which was Panasonic, they kicked 30 plus times a game, which is still less compared to what teams kick now. Kicking's definitely evolved. Defence has got better. I loved when I played, but playing now, like it's that physical piece, and the ability to kick off both feet is really, really important. Look at Antoine Dupont. Look at some of the great. Like I know he's passed on from international, but he's still playing professionally. Aaron Smith, their kicking game, short, long, both sides, clearing. You need to have that as a halfback. And someone like Fourie Dupree had that. He was some player. He was ahead of his time. He'd be loving. I reckon Fourie would really love playing now. It's probably not to be totally honest, it's probably like I'm more of a links golfer. It seems like it's a bit of the USPGA. Get the driver out, hit and wedge to the flags. But no, it's all good. It's all good. You find a way. I think that's the thing. You find a way. Good players always find a way, but wouldn't take my era back anyway.
Yeah, there's some good nines out there, but no one had a drop goal like Georgie in 2003.
I would have loved to do it then. I always practice it, George. I used to practice it all the time.
Do you like that drop goal?
I didn't have the drop goal. I didn't have the confidence to pull it out in the game and do it.
It was just... Well, that was the advantage rule, wasn't it? That was back in the day. We had the advantage. So it was like a free roll of the dice. So if I didn't get it, Berkey or when it would have been Roffey or whoever the Brumbies player would have been able to have a kick at it, which there was a period where Steve Larkham started getting snaky with me saying, let's just keep the ball in hand and score. So if we don't score, we don't go back to the advantage. Like we tried it a few times and we actually lost the advantage and didn't score. So I'm going back to going in the pocket. But that was just it. We just practiced that at training. Yeah. We had to do like a one-step, Mashula drop with the gits and those types, and you do it from like one step 25 metres out and go out to 40, and there's always a bit of competition. That's it. Like a good field goal, you get the drop right and you got a hard foot. You're gonna be thereabouts.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say it was the greatest, but it was a handy tool to have.
Handy tool to have, yeah. And Georgie, just quickly on your mindset as well, okay? When you think about your preparation, when it comes to Georgie, it's always like fancy stuff, the backflips, the Owen Finnegan and Joe Ruff and the boys. What was your prep like? And even the drop goal. What was your prep like, especially leading into games and big games like that?
Yeah, we prided ourselves on really knowing our opposition, like really knowing, like not being too Sun Tzu, but like the art of war, like really know your opposition. If you know your opposition, then you'll be comfortable with what you're doing, and you'll take comfort from the fact you've got a really strong understanding of what they're good at, what they're not so good at, where the opportunities are. So we were very big on that whole. We'd do analysis. We'd do obviously a debrief on how we played the week before. We'd look ahead at who we're playing, and in our little sections within the team, we'd be identifying areas which could be good to exploit, but also areas that are a real threat for us and we need to be better at, and what were their strengths. And so that was a key piece. And then just working on the small things, like we'd do, like you talk about the inside passes or the little drop, they're all just, we used to call it like a PSS, like which is personalised skill development.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just like 5-10 minutes at the end of each session. And it wasn't forced upon you by the coaches, but everyone knew it was also actually probably forced upon you by your peer group. Like I'd grab Roffy or I'd grab Stevie and we'd be looking at something down the short side or near the ruck. We found there could be an opportunity. Let's get in our small group with the running forward, Stevie out the back, all that kind of thing. You just work on those little pitches and those scenarios which might occur, and then it hopefully becomes a bit of second nature, and you start seeing different pitches and you react to them. So we used to do a lot of that, which is pretty normal, but at the time. Yeah, we really looked at that, and that was our point of difference, really. We really wanted to know our opposition and also know the opportunities which might pop up in a game. And sometimes they pop up really late, under fatigue, and you got to be patient. But when those moments came, we were hopefully good enough to communicate it, and then I had the skill set to actually execute on it.
Yeah, Georgie, all the plays, backflip of 9,
it's still being
in all the games,
it's called
Gregan.
the
Gregan.
Till this day.
All the South African teams is called the Gregan.
It's called the Gregan.
That's nice. I left something there. Yeah. That's nice. Normally when I get there, I get cursed, but that's nice. There's a nice positive aspect to the name being used in the little play. It's a good little play. It works. Like defenses are getting better and better.
Yeah.
They always have, but it's still always there. Like if someone chases a halfback and no one feels inside, there's space. And then if you got the combination with someone, then it's good. And if you got someone who's quick and they're in that space, it's good night.
Not Finnegan.
No.
He just used to lumber over. Yeah. But you can flip that around. You can have, like I saw one of the tries you scored against the Wallabies. The halfback can also play that on the outside. So it looks like they might go in and they play it on the out. And everyone just stops and freezes because it's just hard. It's hard under fatigue. It's hard. Big fellas don't want a little halfback with footwork a lot faster than me these days. Yeah. Who can pass short, pass long, and maybe use their legs. It's hard defensively.
Yeah, I'm a tech coach. I'll use that.
Georgie, if you sit right in 139 test matches, how does that feel? How does George Gregan feel about 139?
Most Wallaby kept.
And then having a stadium in your name.
Yeah.
What is the perks of that stadium?
Were you a bit nervous when Michael Hooper came chasing down the caps?
Yeah, well, I think Slips will go past me. I think James Slipper will go past me this year. I think Slips is pretty damn close. I think he's whatever he is. I think if James Slipper stays healthy, and he'll be part of that Wallaby team, he'll go past me. Which is, it's fantastic that I was able to play as long as I did, and I was lucky enough to play with some incredible players. Good fortune, good management in terms of having a long career, and just you never take it for granted. But I remember it like yesterday. My first Test match was against Italy. Then my last one was unfortunately against England in Marseille in a quarter final, where we got knocked out in 2007. But all in between, the beauty of sport. Lots of things to remember. There's the good, the bad, and there's the learning. That's sport. That's rugby, and there's also the friendship and the mateship. So, like some of my best friends are the big bockers and all the guys who are part of the Avant 15. We played a lot against each other. We've had lots of shared experience on the field, off the field, and I think that's what's beautiful about our game. And having a stadium named after me alongside with Steve Lycombe, again, very humbling. it's nice. It's really, really nice to have that. And it's a nice shout out to the Brumbies and what they did to the community in Canberra.
And Georgia, any perks that comes with having your name on a stadium? Is there any royalties? What comes with it?
He has to sit in the stadium. He can't be in a suite.
Yeah.
I don't like this. I'm not a corporate box kind of guy. If I go to the stadium, I've often over the years, I haven't been back for a while. I was obviously doing a fair bit of commentary, so I was literally on the sideline. But when I've gone to watch, I like sitting in the stadium. I like sitting in the stadium. And my parents and friends, if I needed to shout out for tickets, which I rarely do, but if I needed to, I can always call up the old CEO, our team manager, which is Phil Thompson. We can get access to some tickets on either side. But yeah, the Gregan Larkham stand's not a bad place to view. Yeah. But it's just nice. It's one of those things. It's in perpetuity, so you're there for life. And again, I think it's probably more of a shout out to what the Brumbies, and prior to the Brumbies was the ACT Kookaburras, the impact that rugby had on the community.
And at the Brumbies as well, obviously you retired in 2012, was it? And then listening to you, he's got a massive rugby IQ. He knows the games, he understands the game. And you were in the coaching for 2 years. Why 2 years, or are you still coaching?
I did a bit of coaching with, so Jake White came over, came over to the Brumbies. Young Steve Larkham, all my age, just starting as assistant coaching, along with Laurie Fisher. I think then Dan McCallum came a little bit later. And it was just a chance to work specifically alongside Stevie, because he was the attack coach, but just working specifically with 9s and 10s. So I did a lot of work with the young Nick White, Matty Tamula, Christian Olefano, just on our attacking shape and how decision-making and just steering the team around the paddock and what we're looking for in terms of options. So, we could obviously you got to clear your half, but then when it's time to play, how do we play? And after, say, a line out or a scrum, what sort of shape and what sort of options do we want to have, be it, say, off the halfback, first receiver, second receiver, and the connection and the connectivity with the back three and the communication. So I love doing that and working alongside Stevie. But coaching, you got to be I just retired, and then you're getting on with your life after rugby, which is important. And I didn't have time to be a full-time coach. That worked out nicely. I was like a specialist coach. You go down to Canberra from Sydney. It's easy. Got to see the folks as well and some friends down there. Nice. But then you just do a couple of days good work in season. And a lot of the work was done in that pre-season beforehand. So the end of 2011 going into the 2012 season. And then you could just, like the way technology is now, you could cut up stuff, drop box, cut stuff. There's a real clear understanding of what they wanted to do, and they could come back to you. And that worked really nicely. But I just didn't, to be fair, I didn't have time for it. I think I did that on and off till about 2014 with the Brumbies. And then I did a little bit with Michael Checker and the Wallabies in the lead up to 2019. Again, just specifically with 9-10s helping. It was Sean Byrne and the team just work on that attacking shape, which I really, really enjoyed. But again, it's just I couldn't dedicate a full-time role to it because I had other things on outside of rugby. But what I did, I loved, and it's always there. And the players are really coachable, really receptive, and that's all you want to do. You want to pass it on, because you remember when you were a young player. I remember young John Hipple took me aside and gave me some great tips on what a halfback should be doing, not just the skill set, but how to look at the game, different pitches you can be. You can be working towards in a game and how to react to them, and particularly the combination that. And I love this from Hippie. The combination you have with your 10 is always outside you, but also your blind winger and your fullback on short sides. Very Hippie, had some great halfbacks, but Hippie, if you watch any football or any rugby imagery of Hippie, he's pretty handy down a short side. He could milk a short side like no one else. John Hipwell.
Yes, Juan. Before we get to this one in the middle here, I've got one question that I would. You
gotta ask now. You gotta ask now.
If I don't ask George
please.
Gregan this question, George. So I've got a full picture in my mind when George Gregan played rugby. It was competitive. That face you had before running out on the pitch, being captain. Does that face and the personality, do they match? Are you as feisty and as serious and as competitive as a human outside of rugby? Or what is Georgie like outside of rugby?
Like that's 4 more years. Years.
Yeah, well, that was a moment, wasn't it? It hasn't been forgotten. The camera got me at the wrong time. I think there was a moment between myself and Byron Kelleher, another feisty halfback. So that had been going on for a while. But the thing is, like competitive. I think when you go inside the arena, you're competitive. Like I'm competitive. I like to win. I like to prepare to win. I'll accept defeat. Like that's part of that's sport. But like, when I go on, I have a real drive to win. Is that applied to my life afterwards? I enjoy being successful. I know a lot of hard work comes into it, but it's not rugby. I'm not going to be smashing someone around a boardroom but like there's a preparation piece to it, which I do like. I think because, you only get there through hard work and smart work. Where do I channel that competitive energy? I guess that's probably part of your question. Like I love mountain biking, not to the level of the boys who cycle epic. That's fun. That's all on you. I love golf. I'm competitive at golf. Golf's a great game because it's you and yourself, but it's also like when you're playing against each other and you might be 3 down, there's 5 holes to play.
It's
like
on.
That often happens.
It's on.
Yeah, it's on. I'm not down. I'm coming. But if I'm 3 up, I want to get to 4 up. If you know what I mean, I want to actually shake your hand on the 15th green. I don't want it to get down to the last 2 holes. So there is that competitive edge, which is I think all sports people have it. But I keep it in line. I've enjoyed playing a bit of paddle.
Oh
I played it with my wife
That's
and
the
some
new
other
thing
friends
now.
at the similar level. Yeah, it's good fun. You can't get too competitive with it and it's called paddle social for a reason. So you play for 90 minutes, you have a bit of competition, get a bit of a sweat up, and then you'll have a bit of food and share a few beers afterwards, which is nice. But no, that person you saw 20 odd years ago, it's a younger me. I'm competitive, but not like that.
No,
that's different. You can't go in with a smiling, think, it's going to be good. I'm so happy to be here. I'm just about to play Skulk. I'm about to play.
We're all like that.
Play Victor, and I'm about to play. Who was trying to eat me most of the time? Big Bucky. It's like he's trying to eat me. Like, all right.
That competitive
fight
juice.
or flight. Yeah, exactly. And it's Australia playing New Zealand, Australia playing the Box, South Africa. Very similar. We're really we're sporting nations who want to compete hard and, shake hands off the field, but then we'll go again, which is great.
And you want to rub it in. Just make
just
sure
a soft little touch.
You just rub it in at the end.
Georgie, you were not that bad. You about a 7 out of 10, but this guy is a 9.5 out of 10. Is it Chihuahua? I need to get out of this guy.
I never chirped George. I was a loving human being on the rugby field.
Different nines these days, George, just quickly spoke about teams and stuff. Okay, Wallabies, you've been with incredible teams, World Rugby, Barbarians, and all this. But let's talk about Avante team, okay, with the boys.
I want to correct you.
Avant. Oh, okay. Avant. Yeah, Brandy. Yeah.
It's easy to say. Don't worry. That's it. It's like people. You get it, don't you? It can happen.
Yeah.
It can happen. It's like tomato.
Yeah, potato. Yeah. Talk about this team and the guys involved and how you got into it.
Yeah, well, the Avant team's incredible. It's a great concept. Obviously, we're talking about the VSOP brandy from Cape Brandy, which is that's gorgeous. But how I got involved, the first part, before we start talking what's inside that beautiful packaging.
I'm open this
John Smith approached me about an opportunity to be part of like a team, like a startup business, which it was. It's not. It is now. It's well and truly on its way, involving what we like to do: get together, enjoy a quality drink, share some time, share some stories, but also be part of something which we could share with the rugby community, which I think, as we know, rugby people will travel, will enjoy putting their arm around the opposing team, the opposing spectators, sharing a drink and sharing win, lose or draw good times. And it really resonated with me, and it's going forward because with sport, you don't always win, and with life, you don't always win, but you keep moving forward. And so it resonated with all of us. And he says, we're thinking of putting a team. Obviously, it's a Cape Brandy.
Yeah.
This one's a VSOP, so it's that next level, and there's the pot still. We can go through the whole. It's quality. You know what I mean? And I know there's a real brandy and Coke.
I was just about to say,
you can't drink this with Coke, lads. It's just got to be neat or on the rocks. It's just gorgeous.
The rocks it is, yeah.
But with the team, it was like it's sort of like a bit like a bar bars. We've got Jim Hamilton. We know who Jimmy Hamilton is from Rugby Pass, Justin Marshall, myself, all the people we played against and or played with on a couple of occasions. I played with Smitty a few times with the Barbars in the North vs South match in 2004.
Yep.
Butch James, I'm naming. I never got to play with Lukian Arm, but I've been watching these boys play. Pimpy, like incredible double World Cup winners. I could go through some more players who are in there. Skulky Brits, who's a good man,
yes.
Played some golf. He loves his golf. He's a competitive man. He is competitive with everything, Skulk Brits.
He's at
but the thought of saying, well, let's put a team together. We're rugby boys, so it's straight away it's a good crew.
It's not a bad WhatsApp group.
It's not a bad WhatsApp group.
It's not a bad WhatsApp group. Exactly. Jean de Villiers, he's got some funny chat. Not so funny chat, but we get together and we're all behind this. And it was a pretty easy thing to get behind because I think some of the best endorsements or people getting behind a startup business is actually believing in it. And we totally believed in this. We did a great launch in Paris during the Rugby World Cup, and it was really well received. Obviously, I think half of South Africa was in Paris supporting the Boks. So they turned up to an Australian bar, and we poured it, and all the feedback we got was positive. And as I said, like they had the option of doing it with Coke, and we were saying, no, I said, guys, you got to have this on the rock. It's like I finished my playing career in Japan, so I know some beautiful single malt whiskies through Suntory. So it's got that kind of flavour, that smoothness. It's got age in the bottle, but it's also got some really nice sort of vanilla, toffee, say coffee dark plum notes, which you don't want to be wasting. You don't want to be wasting, you want to be embracing them, and it opens up.
You want to enjoy that,
It's good.
Partner, I can only imagine Ruckus and Georgie, if I could one day share one of these bad boys on the rocks
we'll do this.
with my childhood hero. That would be fabulous.
Fabulous,
I get down to the Republic a bit, so we'll have to do that. We'll have to do that and make it work.
And talk about the Republic, there's a massive game coming up on the 7th of September, and there's a competition also running as well. So you just buy a bad boy like this, and then we got a little bit of a scan the barcode, sign up, and then you can win. Is it 7 double tickets?
It's 7 double tickets, Ruckus. And you stand, it's a weekend.
A weekend?
A weekend.
A weekend in Cape Town? You're kidding me?
Yes, 100%, George.
At the Cape Town Stadium, near Greenpoint.
DHL Stadium,
All Blacks versus the Springboks. Oh, it's going to be... I'm actually going to go get my own one to enter the competition, George, so I can be there. And it's available at all major retailers, Ruckus, all major retailers in South Africa. Get your Avant brandy, stand a chance to win this magnificent, all paid for, inclusive rugby experience. Did I get that right,
And that's
Georgie?
a special one. Like, that's going to be a special game. Yeah, 100%. That's a special bottle. That's a VSOP. Is that correct? I can't see it 100%.
100%. That's the one.
So that's the very special open pot distiller. That's been in the pot for 8 years.
Yeah.
And they obviously do it the Cape Branderies, being pot distilled for 3 or 4 years. That's a beautiful drop. And it's going to be, they're never anything but epic matches when they're played between the Boks and New Zealand, particularly at an epic place such as Cape Town. So, you should be having that. And maybe put a little hip flux of that in your back pocket. Not maybe that's against the laws, but I've seen people do that. It's not a bad one.
Might grab a sip
Get a few
afterwards.
cubes of ice when you get your beer.
Yeah, so that's 14
Don't
people.
drop my name if you get in trouble with the police.
No, we won't do that. 14 people at the DHL Stadium.
Yes.
Obviously, Skulk and Butch will be there as well. John and Justin will be also coming in later in the suite as well. You're not going to be there, Georgie?
No, I haven't planned to be there. And it's my actual father-in-law's birthday that midweek. But
Great excuse.
never say never. Like, I think in the future, don't worry, I'll be coming back to the Republic. And when I make my next trip, there'll be something involving us getting together and making sure that Mr. Rob Haynes and we'll get a few other couple of the founding members. So maybe just get one on the rock, a little tasting night.
A tasting, but in the studio. We got to do this in the studio. Okay, we'll bring some ice in here.
Yeah. Little Southern Hemisphere tasting.
Yeah.
A little Southern Hemisphere tasting. I like it.
George in South Africa we say in Afrikaans met ijs.
Met ijs,
So we're going to have the VSOP with met ijs.
Yeah.
Met ijs.
Met ijs, there we go.
Georgie, before we go, I want to play a game with Georgie.
Okay.
I'm just testing 1, 2, something. This game is simple, Georgie. It's start one, bench one, drop one. There's a reason I'm asking you this, okay?
Start one, ends one, drop one.
Start one, bench one, and drop one. Okay. We're going to take it way back to your era. Okay. Number 1, we got Joos van der Westhuizen, Justin Marshall, and the one and only
George
139 caps, George Gregan. Under pressure a little bit, yeah.
And you're allowed to back yourself, George. I don't want you to be humble.
Oh,
Crumble.
yeah.
Yes.
No, I won't apple crumble. I'll start with Yus. I'll bench Marshy.
Yeah.
And what's the other one? And
George
then I get
yourself.
dropped. Then I drop. Well, because who are we playing next? We'll play the next game, and I'll be ready for the next, and we'll just reverse it all around. It's like the Rugby Championship. We're doing what Rassie did.
Yeah.
I'll be ready for the next one. And then you also get dropped.
Yeah, afterwards. Talk about the next one. Let's take the era a bit back in the 2000s, okay? We've got Fourie de Pre, okay? We've got Aaron Smith, and we've got Will Guinea.
Yeah.
The Tri-Nations. We're keeping it Tri-Nations.
Start one, bench one, drop one. Oh, that's tough.
Oh, it's a hard one.
That's the tough one.
I'd start with 3.
Yeah.
I'd bench. Oh, that's so hard. Because here's where I'm becoming. Here's my Aussie comes in. I'd bench Willie G, because Willie G can probably hurt you with his legs coming off the bench more than Aaron Smith. And then I'd drop Aaron, but then the next match I'll be starting with Aaron. And yeah,
he doesn't want to keep
you know
someone
what?
up.
If that was the case, it's a good one. That's a good one. That's how I do it. If that would be the decision. And I'd also ask you who you're playing. That's a good
also
one.
the other question.
So that's how I do it. I'd start with Fourie. Fourie's like a bit of he can do everything at the beginning. Then a little bit of a change up, different pitcher, Willie G.
Yeah.
And then Smith. Sorry, Aaron Smith.
I want one more.
You know I love you.
Georgie, I need one more. This one is a all-over international one. Okay? I want to make it very tricky for this one. Just to start it off, we've got Antoine Dupont. Okay?
Okay.
We've got Jameson Gibson Park.
Yes.
Jameson Gibson Park. And then we got Fourie de Pre. Three big dogs.
Okay.
Georgie, the ball is in your court.
Fast missed out.
Fast missed out.
He's done.
He's missed out, yeah. Those 3, what do you
The one
think?
game, you would start with Dupont.
Okay.
Yeah, you'd start with Dupont.
Okay.
And then you'd have.
Oof.
He's thinking, I like this.
Yeah, it's because you throw me with Fourie. Because Fourie I haven't seen Fourie much the way he's played now, but Fourie could start. I wouldn't put Fourie off the bench. Fourie, I think Fourie's a starter every time. But for the way the game is, I'd probably go with start with Dupont. Bench. Bench could be. Yeah, it's a tough one. This one.
It's a tough one. I've never seen George Gregan under pressure. First team ever.
Bench. I'd go. Bench would be. I'd probably go because it's similar. Aaron Smith, quick off the deck, bang. The way the game is, collision, kicking, both got really good kicking. I'll go with Aaron Smith, then I'd have to go Fourie. Missing this one. Fourie would miss this one.
Jameson Gibson Park.
I'm applying. Oh, Gibson Park.
Yes. There we go.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So it goes Antoine Dupont, not Aaron Smith. Gibson Park would become off the bench, and then I'll go Fourie miss outs in this one, just because of the way the game is now.
Yeah, the 9 legend has spoken.
If I didn't have the flip side to that is I would have started with Fourie because he's got to start. He either starts or he doesn't, and then middle would have been Fourie. Would have been Dupont. Dupont can start or he can come off the bench. We saw it in the 7s.
He can do everything.
In the 15s.
He does it all.
But he's some player. They're all some players. All those names you just mentioned. There's some incredible players.
Yeah.
But good. It's good. I always like it when you throw it around.
Yeah.
Across those generations, because all those players would do well. But I just think the way the game is now, having that speed of ball moving it. Fourie was good at that too. They're all world class players.
Behind the Ruck has put George Gregan under pressure.
I love it.
It was good. That's a good question. It's a great question. But here's a question. Here's a question to you guys. So Gareth Edwards, Antoine Dupont. And I know everyone goes use, but I'm glad we're saying Fourie a lot because Fourie doesn't get enough raps. I think, because just how complete he was as a player.
I'm sending that one to a Springbok 9.
On the podium.
I'm throwing it to a Springbok 9, okay?
Look, Georgie, I didn't see Gareth play, so I'm going to assume he doesn't make the cut for my team. But I'll probably go this is tough.
Dupont. Let me help you, Dupont.
No, I'll go for restarting.
Okay,
I'll go for restarting, and I go Dupont with his natural ability. He can turn the game around when needed, so I'll go Dupont off the bench. I'll start for that's going to be extremely dangerous.
No, I like that. I like that
too. But I'll tell you why it's hard, why I always throw to Gareth Edwards. I know, like everyone talks about era. He was doing everything. Like you just watch some of the stuff that he was doing as a heart. Like he was a freak. That was in the 70s. But like you just watch it, you go, how was he there? Like you just go, how was he there? Like he was everywhere, and he had top end speed. He had everything, and he didn't look like he was blowing. He was some player.
Yeah. No, he wasn't.
I've been lucky enough to meet him. He was humble as any, most humble Welshman, but he was some player.
No, yes.
Georgie, thank you very much for making the time. Yes, time flew by, and having a rugby icon on here, and actually one of my hosts here, my co-host, role model growing up. Fantastic to have you on here. All the best with the chapters and stuff you're busy with. We'll 100% see you in Cape Town somewhere, okay? And then you come to Behind the Ruck first to have a Avant brandy. Okay, nice. Georgie, thanks for making the time.
Was that African one East with ice? What was it again with ice?
Met ice.
Yes. There we go. Thanks, George. All the best and have a brilliant day.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Take care, gents.
That is George Gregan. Ciao. Ooh, how's your heart rate? Are you okay? You look a little bit nervous, okay? I don't want you to calm down.
No,
okay?
I'm calm down. But damn it, we're a big deal.
Wow. Jesus, eh? That was nice.
It was incredible, partner, the way he spoke and how open he is and the fact that he makes time for Behind the Ruck.
Yeah.
And also, I never knew he was a brandy man.
Okay.
Interesting that an Australian...
He's a Cape brandy, Avant brandy.
I'm in a Coke bag.
Met Asia, Georgie. You know what Asia. But yeah, incredible. Good to catch up with him. Obviously, he knows a lot what's happening when it comes to Wallaby rugby. And he's obviously in England at the moment, London.
Yes.
Okay. But yeah, good to catch up with him. You enjoyed it?
I loved it. Okay. Absolutely loved it. The way I loved the Springbok performance this weekend.
And talk about Springbok performance. Were you up at 6 o'clock?
Yes.
No.
Yep, I was.
Oh, yeah, 6 o'clock
I had my coffee, I had my little rask, tennis biscuits. En het geloop en toe loop die bokke.
En toe loop die bokke. Talk about looping the bokke, okay? At 6 in the morning at Brisbane, it was Boks versus the Wallabies. In the scoreline, 33-7. Can you believe it?
Yes.
33-7. 21-0.
Like Jack White said in the URC, it could have been more.
Yes, could have been 80. Throwback Thursday. And then straight after that, the shock of the weekend. It's All Blacks versus Argentina, and the score was 38. 38. Argentina 38.
38.
Talk about Brisbane. Let's go down under to Brisbane.
Partner, I was...
Incredible. I mean, the Springboks got a lot of weapons now. When it comes to the scrum, when it comes to the line-out, when it comes to the defense, even the attacking ability as well. You see these short passes. I think the Wallabies was shocked what the Springbok, gave them at the end.
I think, the Wallabies have probably been preparing themselves for that game, but that first 40 minutes, the Springbok rugby, I think that was a proper performance, a brilliant Springbok performance. The way we played. I mean, there was tries that we left out there. That's why I'm saying it could have been more. The Willie one, the passing, obviously. Any other game, Willie would have passed that thing. That is Willie's bread and butter, decision-making. But the box looked amazing, partner. I think we as South Africans, we must get excited for running, attacking, try scoring rugby from Springbok. Jy kan nie wag hier, Rakkers. Saturday, where are you?
Saturday. Saturday.
No, partner, we were incredible. Like, Siya Kolisi, I think he's playing phenomenal rugby. He was amazing this weekend again. Oxen Che, subtle touches out the back again.
Yes.
We have depth. Ooh, that word. Depth in depth with each and every position.
Yeah.
Ons kan enige kat kies.
Wild old engine it is. We got Tony Brown. The attack is functioning. We've functioning for the past couple of weeks. But also Flannery. The defense looking good.
I like that name.
Flannery. Okay. 21 points, especially in the first half. The defense looks good. Obviously in the last couple of...
Partner, we made one line-out, two line-outs in one line-out.
We must give as well, to give him 7.
Throw to the back, throw in front to Eben, then we maul. As variation.
Yeah, variation everywhere. And look at Cheston Colby as well, throwing into the line-out. Throwing in...
Partner, so I said, Cheslin Colby played 9 this weekend. He played hooker, he played wing, and he went for a drop goal attempt. 4 positions in one.
Jesse? Okay. 4 flies, 1 slip. 4 flies, 1 slip.
Throw the ball in the line.
Incredible, eh? And that's Rassie when it comes to the planning and stuff. And we know Rassie. When you give Rassie rules, he's going to see where he can bend it. Okay? And when it comes to that, especially when it comes to the scrum off, he's got obviously a little bit of space now, so he can come around the corner. That's why the rules came in. And there's a rule also, if you don't contest in the line-out to skew, okay, it's play on.
I love it.
Question for you and question for the Ruckers, okay? When you're 5 meters away and you can see they're not going to contest, they're facing this way. Is it possible to line it up and throw it to the 9?
Partner seatbelt.
A little bit of Rassie into me now. So Ruckers jump in the
seatbelt on this guy. What do you want to do?
They're not contesting and this is skew to 9. Hooker straight to 9.
That's 9 from part of the line-out.
It's part of the line.
Quickly.
It's part of the line-out. So it's skew, but it's to 9. Play on. Okay? Ruckers, get involved in the comment section. Incredible what Rassie is actually bringing to the party when it comes to these type of rules. But the box, are we unstoppable or what?
I don't think we obviously we do. I don't think we must get arrogant. I think we're not obviously no team is unstoppable. That's the reality of sport. But we are. I think this is the best Springbok era. I think we must enjoy this era. We must enjoy what Springbok rugby is about currently. Our brand is attractive. Our brand is about winning rugby games. It just looks like those boys are not satisfied and finished yet. Even though they've got back-to-back World Cup.
Back-to-back.
Even though back-to-back World Cup, it looks like they still want to prove a point. They're still chasing something. And I think that's the most impressive part. But we looked awesome. The start of the game, the first 40 minutes, we scrummed them. We mauled them. Our intensity in everything that we did was utterly amazing.
We scrummed them. Even the captain, they asked him, you got a penalty here, or thingy there? Where's the scrum? Where's the scrum? But that just shows what the weapon we have. And when you look at I was listening to the Australian commentators because I missed them from Super Rugby days.
Yes.
Down the line, you rattle the cage. You know the Australian commentators?
Rattle the cage.
Yes, I used to love them. So I was listening to them and they're like all the time, every 5 minutes, it's about, wow, this Springbok outfit is looking unbelievable. Wow, this defense is looking unbelievable. Wow, the attack is looking unbelievable. And that's good to see, good to hear when it comes to that. Hey?
Partner, I think it was really, it was a fantastic game to watch on the ice. I think the thing that obviously stood out for me was our breakdown speed, Paddy. And I loved the fact that our 9s are running a little bit with the ball and not just going off the base. That has honestly got me so excited. The try that Grant Williams created for Kwagga Smith. I mean, Grantie, enetjie van die. En dan ek op die voorkop. Kyk, ek is oor as ek op die voorkop. So that try that Grantie created for Kwagga Smith, I mean, that's exciting stuff, partner.
The innovation. I mean, the key players as well. The innovation of the gooi daar, score, Siya Kolisi. I mean, the Kurtley Arendse. Hy maak klaar. Oral waar hy kom, maak hy KLA klaar. Okay?
How he went through for that try?
I don't know what. Chup, next minute.
He ran through it like it was COVID. No one wanted to touch him.
Social distance, hey.
Social distance, Kurt, that didn't try time.
Yeah, the ninja man, eh? Ninja poof. But it was incredible to see even Jesse Kriel step, like Cheslin Colby ran through there, give it to Kurtley Arendse. Incredible scenes.
Jesse's playing great rugby, Paddy.
Yes.
Sasan Gomez, Feinberg, Gomez Zulu, bumping alla toe. Say, no bus ticket, straight through, setting up Willie.
Even Cheslin Colby gave him a big hit as well.
Our boys were amazing.
They were amazing, yeah. And talk about amazing. The All Blacks was an amazing game after. Talk to me. What did you see?
Je wil eerlijk is vandaag, hè?
No. Let's call a spade a spade.
I think I want to give credit to Argentina. I think a lot of people in the rugby world didn't give them any chance of getting even a bonus point. Getting within 7 points of that game. And I think they played an attractive brand of rugby. They looked like they were competent. The English words are big today. Competent with ball English in hand. So they looked really good. They had a set game plan. They played a 21 attacking shape where they hit in the middle, go back to the blind, to the soft defense. The All Blacks struggled with a little bit of attacking, kicking, exiting. Not when the game got tight. Where in past years, All Blacks found a way to win rugby games.
Yeah, that's what
In
winners
this
do.
one, they looked a little bit panicky, but I want to give all the credit to Argentina.
Yeah, give credit.
And
Flowers.
the old man, the old guy,
Creevy.
Augustine Creevy.
Hey,
Amazing.
amazing, yeah. At his age, 39 years old. Hey, still does
Amazing.
it.
It's like a vet cook on a Friday night in winter. Hy werk. Hy's lekker.
Hy's lekker.
Augustine Creevy. He was class.
Yeah, so the aunties they said, don't cry for me, Argentina. Looks like it. They were looking happy, and they want to go back to back, like the Springboks. They want to go back to back. But yeah, a lot of headaches for Razor. So he's got erase this one out. He needs to erase this one out. Okay, next weekend.
Very quickly, Rashi obviously had his team selections for this upcoming weekend.
Yes. Talk about the upcoming weekend, okay? There's got the All Blacks versus Argentina. They up first at 9:05, and straight after,
Yes.
okay, at 11:45, it is Australia versus the Springboks with a lot of changes. We're not going to say beating. Changes. Okay.
I like how Georgie mentioned that in the interview.
Yes,
It's
he
like
said
there's no such thing in Springbok rugby B team.
It's coming this weekend.
Just Rashi,
A lot of changes.
as soon as you think you know what's going to come, jy moet iets sien.
Talk about those changes. You know, Mona van der Berg getting his opportunity and starting at number 9. There's so much changes. Finally, Lukanya Mampimpi, they're getting the opportunities. They show their worth in the Portugal game. It's time to shine again. Fassi he's back.
No, he obviously he's been excellent this year, Fassi. But I think if you're a player in that squad, the way Rashi backs those players, that is what every player wants. I don't care what generation you're playing. You want a coach to have full trust in you. And that is what Rashi is showcasing, not through words in the media.
Yeah.
He shows it through team selections. It's a big game away from him. It's important 4-5 points up for grabs. But he trusts his squad.
Yeah.
He trusts that players. I mean, that for me is what makes Rashi such an incredible coach.
Yeah, they trust the players, and the players trust him. Well, if you look at last weekend as well, Ergia getting an injury, he gives
Pity.
Ruan.
Yes.
Norkia, he gives him opportunity. Obviously, he got injured as well. But then he moved Pity to lock. He gave BJ opportunity. That's trust. Even though you've got 2, 3 or 4 caps, he gives you opportunity. He makes you grow. Sasan Zulu at 10. He's got the ability to risk it for the biscuit, and he's growing, and you can slowly start seeing he's trying to get the evolution, because he knows there's a lot of 30 club boys in the squad, so he's trying to get the evolution for 2027.
But it's the right year for us to take a risk like this, and I don't want to say risk because those players who are selected are amazing rugby players, but it's the right time to give people opportunities this year, the first year after we won the last World Cup. So look, I don't mind the team. I think it's exciting for us, South Africans, Ruckers. We got something to look for. What's the game going to look like? What are these people? What are players going to put up? What are they going to cook in the kitchen for us?
Up the stadium.
But Yalrich Low getting another opportunity. He was excellent this past weekend.
Yeah.
Salman Murad captaining the Springboks again for his second time. That's excellent for South
Captain
African
66, Captain 66. Awesome to see.
rugby. Who am I missing out?
Huh?
Who am I missing out? Mode van den Berg first start for South Africa.
Yes. Cheslin is playing again. He likes to play. Just keeps on keeping on, because we need a 9 off the base. We need a hooker, and we need a guy drop goals.
Mani back in the mix, hopefully getting some nice game time. That's excellent for us as South Africans. And I'm extremely happy for Mani to get some game time.
Yeah. No, exciting times, and it's going to be good scenes when it comes to up the stadium.
Oh, up the stadium.
Well,
are you going to be there?
Perth.
What are you doing this weekend?
Share the news with the boy. With the Ruckers. It's good news. So Ruckers, there's a very good chance that behind the Ruck,
yes,
the Rudy Page and Juan de Jong will be at the stadium, okay, at Perth. So check us out, okay? Check us out. Are you excited for it?
Big deal.
Hey.
Sorry.
Huh?
I am super excited.
Wow.
I've apologized 3 times to my wife for going away again. But the Box is playing at Optus Stadium.
Yes.
I have to be there. Okay? Driekers is fighting in Perth. We have to be there. We got to support. We got to make sure behind the Ruck is there, Ruckers.
Yes.
Your number 1 rugby podcast.
Because I love you worry. South Africa. I love you worry. South Africa. I love you worry. Okay, that's the new one.
I like it. Ruckers hashtag. I love you worry.
But yeah, shout out to the Qatar Airways, obviously presenting this trip, taking behind the Ruck over there because of Optus Stadium, where the British and Irish Lions tour will be.
Yes.
So yeah, we're gonna showcase it. We're gonna preview it. We're gonna build it up. Okay, showing not only South Africans but also the Australians and World Rugby. Where's the British and Irish Lions?
Partner Ruckers, this weekend is important. Be on our social media.
Yes.
We're going to drop content. We're going to make sure that we give you guys the point of view from what the fans are going through outside of South Africa.
Yes.
What does that look like? What does a test look like out of South Africa? Do they do the same things? Boerewors, brandy. Maybe they drink wine before game. We don't know, but we're gonna find out and we're gonna show you.
Yes. And enjoy it. Huh? Qatar Airways giving you business class. Okay, knife and fork. Okay. I need knife and fork. Okay.
Seatbelt, okay?
Okay.
Seatbelt, we there for work.
Okay,
The
yes,
Ruckers are going to enjoy the content, but the two of us are working.
Yes. Okay. Work is work. Okay.
Yes.
Work.
Hey.
Guys, as we're finishing off, okay, guys, Behind the Ruck is supported. Look at that.
Lekker.
Supported by SuperSportBET. And you know, Drykers is in the building with Old School. Old School, our apparel sponsor, guys. Go check it out and grab yours. Because it's important
please.
weekend.
Let's stand behind
grab
Drykers.
yours. Yes, all
Or
the
as
way.
the Americans say, Drykers.
Drykers. Joe Rogan. Drykers.
Duplessis. Give him uppercut, Drykers.
Fighting
En dan, hoe maak
Adesanya,
Drykers aan hier?
huh?
That last one.
Over the top.
Over the top, Drykers, I want one of that.
Over the top, yeah. What an incredible episode, eh?
Fantastic.
You must enjoy it. Your rugby icon on the show, you know, having your QT, quality time.
Is it nostalgic? Is that the right word?
Something
I
like
think
it.
so.
Don't
Yeah,
ask
sorry,
me.
I apologize.
You sold this like
But amazing. I've met
Amazing,
him before,
yeah.
and it was a privilege for me to meet him, and an absolute privilege, Ruckers, to have my childhood hero on Behind the Ruck.
Yes,
And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode as much as we did.
Yes, and as much as you enjoyed last week, Quade Cooper, okay? Thanks for that all, okay? Thanks for the comment section. Always important to like, share and subscribe. Share it like a gossip story. Hey, it is what it is, hey? And that's it. Let's call it a day. Let's go. Here we go. Guys, I'm Juan de Jong.
I'm Rudy Page.
And the Ruck is clear. Let's
Bye
go.
bye.